Find the biggest voices in sport on the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Like The Upshot with Jack and Zach. It's a podcast about the scandalous antics of the biggest names in sport. From David Beckham's stag do of the century to the real reason Chelsea sacked Thomas Tuchel. This summer, we'll be in the USA, unearthing all the funniest stories from the biggest tournament in sport. Search The Upshot wherever you get your podcasts.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Find the biggest voices in sport on the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Like football cliches with me, Adam Hurrey, Charlie Eccleshare and David Walker. Almost certainly the greatest alternative football podcast in existence. It's going to be a long, hot summer of football and we'll make sense of all the tiny things you didn't think you cared about, but trust me, you do. Search football cliches and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Find the biggest voices in sport on the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Like Under the Cosh with me.
And me, Chris Brown. And me, John Barkin.
Do I not get my name?
Not important, irrelevant.
Well, join us each week when we have a different character from the world of football.
Imagine sat in your local pub, you've got your favourite player and he's telling you the nitty-gritty. From modern day to the good old days, we've got it all.
And I don't know if you know, there's a bit of a tournament going on this summer. We've got some extra bonus
Materials.
material. I like that word. Better than content.
Search Under the Cosh and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Not this time, girl. Not this time. Not this fucking time. No! No, 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 no! No! No, 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 no! No! Not this fucking time! No fucking way! No fucking way! No fucking way!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Achtung, Millwall. Broadcasting from beautiful South Bermondsey, it's the #1 Millwall podcast. Accept no substitute.
Welcome, dear listeners. Welcome to Monday with Merv in the wake of Saturday's very Millwall outcome at home to Blackburn Rovers. Joining me is another long-in-the-tooth Millwall fan who's seen it all before. It's Merv Payne. How are you, Merv?
I'm good. Thanks, Nick. All things considered, yeah, I think without wishing to sound wise after the event, I think the phrase is we all saw that coming. One of the first things my dad taught me about following Millwall was we always beat the good teams and they always get beat by the crap teams. Well, say that. But when you expect them to win, I mean, what you've got to look at is we've had some great results against teams in and around the playoffs. Birmingham, Hull. And sandwiched by two teams fighting against relegation, completing the double over us at our own ground. It's the most Millwall thing in the world. You know, we knew
absolutely.
we were in this bizarre position when Middlesbrough slipped up. I mean, I noticed someone sort of tongue-in-cheek posted on X. Basically, if Millwall win their last 9 games, they're up. And you know, it's a weird way of, or it's a very ambitious way of saying it was in our own hands. But it was never going to be that simple. We were never going to finish the season on a 13-game winning streak, were we?
Not many do. I mean, we've already had 4 wins on the bounce, so that would have made it 13 on the spin. Not many do that, listeners.
No,
even the very, very best don't do that.
Already deserved it. Yeah, it was quite funny watching the some Middlesbrough and Ipswich fans looking at and almost giving up on second place because of the apparent, unbelievable form we were in. But I think perhaps the writing was on the wall a little bit in the Derby game because we did struggle. I think, we did, again, flattered to deceive, and we were perhaps lucky not to at least concede an equaliser right at the end when they hit the post. But it seems to be the way now. We seem to put a great performance in, then it seems to tail off a bit. We get a couple of perhaps fortunate wins, and then it all sort of, maybe the chickens come home to roost a little bit.
I wonder if it's the pressure, Merv.
I
extend that to the other teams in the mix because none of them have exactly turned it on in recent games. As the season gets to its cliche business end, and we're no different. I think that the suddenness of what's available when the glory and riches of the Premier League looking within touching distance. I think it's very tough on players that have probably never played at this kind of level. I mean,
No.
any sport, whether it be snooker, darts, rugby,
Yeah.
handling pressure is what separates the men from the boys, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah. I don't think I mean, again, I'm not making excuses or anything. I just think it's an observation in the modern game where you've got a big chunk of games kicking off at 12:30 now.
Yeah.
Obviously, Middlesbrough were played at 12:30. Looked like they were heading for a 1-0 win against Bristol City. Bristol City equalised in the 6th minute of injury time.
Yeah.
And that sort of sets out very clearly what Millwall have got to do to get second spot. And I think that maybe put a bit of pressure on it. I'm sure Alex Neil would have been very quick to try and to sort of temper that and tell them not to think about scores elsewhere. But, it's instinct, isn't it? And, obviously, and I was, you've got like Sky Sports keep flashing the table up as if it's the last day of the season, showing us sort of jumping into second, and everyone gets a bit excited about it, and that's when you get caught out, I think. But yeah, it's certainly very different these days with games kicking off at all different times and teams playing each other playing at different times.
One of the points that Alex Neil made in his post-match comments to the press was that on Saturday nothing was going to be decided. Even if we got into, even had we made it to second position, then there's still 8 more games to go for us. I think it's 9 for Ipswich, and anyway, there's still 8. A lot of football yet to be played. But I do think there's a tendency to to get over hysterical on wins and losses at this stage of the season. I mean, whatever the outcome of the season will be, this has been a very memorable season, Merv. We look pretty well set for the playoffs. I think we've got a 90% plus chance. Nothing certain, listeners, but
no.
That's a strong shout, and that's going to be in itself a historic season for us. Matching the Mark McGee one back that we keep mentioning 25 years ago. I mean, Saturday's game falls into. There's 2 aspects to Saturday's game. There's that, I'm going to sound like Machiavelli now, listeners. There's that which you can control and that which you can't control. You can control the chances that we missed, Merv, and the first half, which we didn't turn up for, in my opinion. We should. I don't remember anything in front of goal in that first half.
No, apparently it was zero attempts on goal. Yeah,
my memory's not going. Then, listeners, other things are going on me, but my memory's not. And then we had a few chances after the break. We played better in the second half, but we did create chances that we weren't taking. Then we got that terrific goal, one of the great goals I've seen at the Den via Luke Cundall. But then we come to the bits that you can't control, Merv, and that's the actions of a referee. The sending off, obviously, is the main talking point this morning, or over the weekend, I suppose. And then there's the penalty decision that we didn't get. But so you got the refereeing aspect, and you've got the bit that you can control, which is your own finishing and your own approach to the game. I think it's easy, and I want to run this past you because it's easy to look at the referee, and certainly those are 2 crucial decisions that he's taken that have gone against us. But really, had we have taken more chances, then we'd have had a cushion that could have insulated us a little bit against an incompetent referee, in my opinion. Do you agree with that?
I totally agree with that. That was my fear watching the Derby game was, we always look very, very vulnerable at 1-0 up. And, we, as you remember from the Birmingham game, what the key thing about the Birmingham game was when we took our chances when we had the pressure. We put them under immense pressure. We got a great goal sort of out of nothing, really. Then we got another chance to put it away. And we got another chance. And before you knew it, we were out of sight, and then we could relax a bit. But obviously, we weren't able to relax at any point last Tuesday or on Saturday. And you're always vulnerable then. And that's when the refereeing decisions come in. Had we been 2 or 3-0 up by the time you sent Zach Sturge off, then we'd have still been moaning about it. But I think I don't know if we are. I think we are going to appeal. We'd probably have appealed, won the appeal, and everything. Everyone would have been happy. But yeah, it's very easy to blame the ref. And I was all for coming on here and spending most of the time just slugging off Andrew Kitchen and
from Middlesbrough, incidentally, who's worked with the Middlesbrough Academy. But anyway,
I was just funnily enough, I was just looking at who posted the table, and it was on X, a chap called Luke MFC, and it's the table of the I think it's about 20 different teams Kitchener's refed. And in 7 Millwall games, we haven't won a single one. We've lost 6 of them and we've drawn 1. And that's 14th out of the 20. And up there in 4th, Middlesbrough, he's refed 8 games, and I think they've won the majority of them. And that's conspiracy theories. That's all. I'm not turning into a flat earther or an anti-vaxxer, but you do wonder. And people say, "Oh, he might have been a Sunderland fan or a Newcastle." He's from Durham, and they'll say he might have been.
Well, he's worked with the Middlesbrough Academy. He's done.
I think. Yeah, I think whether he's a Sunderland or Newcastle fan, you'd have been quite happy. He would have had something. You still can't. You can't rule out a vested interest, but maybe I'm just being paranoid and being a bit childish. But it does raise an eyebrow, doesn't it? When you look at
it raises an eyebrow is a good way to put it.
When you look at the way he performed, and then you look at where he's based, you do wonder what he was allegiant, and it just perhaps call for. I mean, like I say, the chances are he's completely impartial, but I mean,
I've read some...
There's the same argument in the Premier League of Anthony Taylor, who I think always seems to ref the Man United Liverpool games, and he's from Altrincham, and Liverpool fans say, "Oh, he's biased." But he's bound to be in favour. He probably isn't. But the fact that it raises that question, just get someone from bloody Birmingham to ref it or something like that. But
certainly, Andrew Kitchen joins a long list of referees of villains at the Den, joining Gavin Ward. Who was the bloke? Yeah. There was one from Essex a few years ago, and I can't think of his name now. He was a West Ham fan. I can't think of his name. But anyway,
shadow that I am, I could probably reel off a name, the whole list of the ones that me and my dad had our hit list when I was a kid. I remember them. I could tell you now, but no, I don't want to bore you with that. But yeah,
we've always had them.
You'd see him, and you thought, "Oh God, we've got him again." Bloody hell!
The other thing I love, there's some wonderful, you mentioned conspiracy theories, and what I will say, listeners, I don't subscribe to conspiracy theories, Merv, because having worked in public side or any organisation, and I've thrown a private side into this. Having worked in organisations, the chance of you organising some devilishly fiendish satanic plot and keeping it quiet is so remote. I don't believe in them. But anyway, that's another. The FA certainly don't want us in anywhere near their glistening, gleaming money machine called the Premier League.
No, absolutely not.
And you're getting a sense of that with the number of times we're being hammered now for the chance and things that have got in my ear and out the other. So you're getting a sense of them trying to knock Millwall into shape a little bit if we do clamber into the Premier League. But I don't buy the conspiracy theory side of it because it's just impossible it's impossible to prove it. And it's actually really quite a difficult thing to organise even if you fancied doing it.
Yeah, like you say, we could have put to bed any sort of talk about poor refereeing by having the game, by putting a struggling team out of sight, which is what we should have done. And that's, I think, if
that's down to us though, Merv, isn't it? That's on Millwall.
I don't want to be the merchant of doom because I'm still very optimistic for the season. But if we're sat here in the summer looking back at what might have been, the number one issue will be not scoring enough goals. It's just
goal scoring.
We haven't scored enough goals,
no.
which means we've drawn a few games that we could have or should have won. And we've sort of allowed ourselves to be sort of, drawn into sort of debates, referee debates like this, when we should be sitting here sort of drawing over a 3 or 4-1 win, perhaps.
The other thing, you're right, dead right, goal scoring. I think everyone listening to this show will know inwardly. And then I'm going to park the referee to one side because there's no changing it. An appeal might get Zach Sturge's red card rescinded. I kind of doubt it, but we'll see. But the other thing, unfortunately, is that it's not just Millwall playing. There is also the opposition get a vote. I've been reading that a lot lately in different circumstances. In that actually Blackburn exploited their one-man advantage very well. And their manager is Michael O'Neill, who's an seasoned campaigner.
Yeah.
And he was very wily in his use of wide men and coming down the flank. And he saw where the areas were to be exploited. Now, we need to improve so that to a level where we can adjust to situations. I don't think we adjusted to that situation, particularly in the last 10 minutes.
No, but it also exposes, with Caleb Taylor out injured, it also, and I think quite a few people picked up on this, it exposes, whilst we've got, we sort of say how strong the squad is in terms of midfielders and maybe attackers, still not strong enough attack-wise, perhaps, but defensively we're very, very thin on the ground in terms of players who can come in and do a job rather than risking youth players. and with Caleb out, and then losing Zach Sturge, and with Alfie Doughty out,
Yeah,
we were we weren't able to bring on
well, it's
really
Joe
experienced
Bryan
defender to shore it up. We were 1-0 up. There was 10 minutes to go. Normally you think, well, had we had Taylor on the bench, for example, or someone of his sort of calibre, another Zach Sturge on the bench, we could have shored up the defence. But as it was, obviously we brought Joe Bryan on, and but he's not exactly going to be sort of up to speed. He's not, he's not had much.
Well, he's come into it having barely taken the field. I was trying to think when I last saw him on the field for us. It was a while ago. It's been this season, but he hasn't played much, and it's a high-powered, high-pressure, intense situation.
Yeah.
And that's what he's paid for. That's his job. Certainly the first goal was a move down the right side, so it'd been his area of responsibility.
Yeah.
We're down to 10 men. The second one was that was a scoop in from the kind of more central zone, wasn't it? And I think the second goal was the consequence of us just trying to be, having conceded equalised. There's a strong argument that you close up shop, but that's not Alex Neil's style, Merv.
No.
He wants to play an open style and press for the win, and that's what we were trying to do. But we got bloody nose as a consequence, didn't we? By losing the ball in a dangerous situation. There we are. That's football. Sometimes, listeners. We move on to Ipswich in what is now a very, very big game next Saturday, Merv.
It is.
Portman Road. I think they're third at the moment. Get the table on the screen. They're sitting in third now, 68 points equal. Obviously, our goal difference is behind theirs.
Yeah.
By some way, 20 goals, nearly 20 goals.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a win, or maybe it's playoff football. I think we're getting to the stage now where wins and losses become ever heavier, don't they? So that's a massive game Saturday, the way at Ipswich.
Yeah, I think for me, the worry is, I was so keen to win on Saturday, not just obviously to go second or whatever, but because with Ipswich away and Middlesbrough away, again, I don't want to be the merchant of doom, but unless we're bang on it,
we're up against it there.
3 consecutive defeats for the first time this season. What that would do to the morale, I'm not. We talk about typical Millwall. It'd be typical Millwall to go there and get something out of it. I mean, if we'd have lost at Hull and beaten Blackburn, for example, we wouldn't be.
It could be a blow to the morale to get. We haven't got it. We haven't got it yet, kids. So let's not dwell on it. But I can remember way back in the 2001-2 season where we were looking good for automatic promotion, if I remember right. And then we had a 3-game knock, didn't we? I think I'm struggling. I haven't got it in front of me, but I think we lost a few in the March and April, and that just meant the playoffs were the
I remember it. Yeah, I remember
the realistic
really well.
route. And I think. A problem, if you want to call it that. That's a possibility if we don't get
definitely the March, because it was when we lost Cahill and Sadia through injury.
That's right.
And we lost to both the Sheffield clubs in the space of 4 days.
It just knocked us back a little bit, didn't it? I mean,
United, and suddenly we'd gone from having been in a great position for second, we're looking favourites for second spot.
Didn't we bring Dion Dublin in as a kind of a striker to get a bit of experience?
Dublin in at the end of the month, to cover for Sads. Christ, the midfielder, name escapes me now. We got the midfielder in, and he got sent off on his debut against Sheffield Wednesday when we lost at home. I can't remember his bloody name.
No.
Yeah, that's my age.
I'll have to check that one. Listeners, if you know, message me
Someone
on.
will shout it out.
On Twitter.
I remember the game, and he got. It was the game was a disaster. We got beat by Sheffield Wednesday. We were missing Cahill, and he got sent off on his debut. Then we went to Sheffield United. I think 3 days later, I think we were winning 2-1.
Yeah.
We ended up throwing it away or winning one. And it all went a bit pear-shaped for a bit.
But that produced the big game atmosphere of the Birmingham playoff, and we all know how that finished. That's. We'll see. We're going ahead of ourselves there, but huge games ahead, as Merv said there. Ipswich away Saturday, and then I think it's the Good Friday, 12:30 kickoff at Riverside Stadium up in Middlesbrough. So 2 massive games. The season probably will turn on those 2 games, I think.
Definitely, like you say, that will decide whether we're going for a playoff place or a second place.
And if it goes well, we'll see. All bets are off. If it goes badly, then probably we're going to settle in for playoff football. But one game at a time. There we are. It wouldn't be Millwall without a bit of drama, listeners. It's never going to be easy.
No.
You always need a good villain of the piece, and Andrew Kitchen has joined the ranks of the great Millwall villains of the past. But there we are. Merv, big thank you for joining me this morning, mate. We shall crack on, and I shall talk to you next week after the Ipswich game. Fingers crossed for that one. Big thank you, Merv Payne.
This episode is brought to you by Cologuard. Do you know what's really scary? Not screening for colon cancer when you turn 45. The Cologuard test is non-invasive, requires no special prep or time off work, and ships right to your door. In just 3 simple steps, Cologuard takes the scare out of colon cancer screening. If you're 45 or older and at average risk, ask your healthcare provider about the Cologuard test. Cologuard is available by prescription only. Learn more or request a prescription today at Cologuard.com/screen.
Find the biggest voices in sport on the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Like Libero, a podcast about football, the most important of the least important things. I'm Rory Smith, and twice a week, along with 6 of the country's leading football journalists, we take you inside the game's biggest stories and discuss the most pressing issues facing the Premier League, the Champions League, and pretty much everything else. Join us as the season reaches its conclusion and we prepare for a massive summer of international football. Just search Libero wherever you get your podcasts.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Find the biggest voices in sport on the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Like us, Ali, George and Dave from the England Pod.
We're all England all the time. We'll be out in North America covering a huge summer of football for Thomas Tuchel's side.
The potential for glory for England is so overwhelming that I feel physically sick just thinking about it. And I'm probably not the only one, but the potential for another glorious failure, well, that's pretty potent too. We will be daily throughout the tournament. Just search The England Pod and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Hello? Hello, Nick. It's Bill Slack. I thought I'd give you a call, mainly because I find myself in a little bit of a predicament this evening, Saturday evening. I genuinely don't know what to do with myself after what I witnessed today. I've never seen anything like that in 50 odd years of watching Millwall. I cannot believe what's happened. I'm beside myself. I am genuinely lost for words, which ain't going to help you or me with a podcast. So there's a couple of things with this, isn't there? There's 2 possibilities, right? One is that the 29-year-old referee Kitchen is that inept, that terrible, that appalling that he thought that Sturridge deserved to be sent off, or there's corruption involved. And when I say corruption, I'm not talking about a wide-ranging conspiracy where you know all of the movers and shakers of football have decided we don't want him in the Premier League. Although after seeing that, I certainly wouldn't call anyone a nutcase like I have in the past if they did think that. I'm talking about corrupt in that he has made a conscious decision to make a decision that will affect us adversely. Whether that be because he's from the northeast, quite near Middlesbrough, whether that's because the absolute inadequate that he is, he decided that he wasn't going to be intimidated, and he was going to show everybody how strong and brave a referee he was. So 1, inept, or 2, has deliberately made a decision to influence that game, to send a message about his absolute fucking inadequacy. I don't even know. Do you know what? We don't need to explain the sending off, do we? Because we've all seen it. You know, when like I said to you, right? I'm a little bit like you, Nick. I don't follow football tactics and formations and all the rest of it. I don't study it. You won't find me making a recording about analysis and what went wrong and what went right. okay? But after 50 odd years, you get a finely honed instinct for stuff that happens on a football pitch. And when that referee blew for a foul, I couldn't quite believe it. At no stage, not even for a nanosecond, did the thought enter my head that was a sending off, because I could see where I was, that Jake Cooper was between the attacker and the goal. The attacker's going away from the area, and when he went for his pocket, I was up shouting it was a fucking disgrace that he was going to give him a yellow. So yeah, I think the most frustrating thing, the bit that will drive me fucking mad until about Wednesday, is nothing's going to happen. Nothing will happen. That he has cost us 3 points there. He has cost us second place going to Ipswich next week. He has cost us a league place into fourth, and nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. If the club appeal it, they absolutely should. It'll almost certainly get rescinded, but we've lost the 3 points. And the only single reason we got beat today was that decision. And I am fucking fuming. And I tell you what, I don't know how we don't run on the pitch at times, and I'm not condoning it and saying you're not, but I was that fucking fuming at the final whistle. I wanted to follow the geezer down the tunnel. If there's anybody listening from Millwall Football Club, it was only a feeling. I didn't act on those intrusive thoughts. Please don't ban me. Thank you very much. I'll speak to you soon, mate. I hope you're well.
Huge thank you to Bill there. I mean, summarising, I think, the feelings of many around the Millwall scene, Bill, myself included. I don't want to come across as dismissive of all the outrage that is online. Unfortunately, as I think Bill got to very, very well in his message, nothing much will come of it. The best we can hope for is that the red card might be rescinded. It certainly should be, because the Blackburn forward was, with the benefit of hindsight, and the video was heading away from goal. He had Jake Cooper with him, as well as Sturge on the recovery potentially. He was a good 4 or 5 yards short of the edge of the penalty area, so there was no clear goal scoring chance. Bill makes very, very good points. I can't really dispute them, but I think the problem is that nothing much will happen. That's the punchline to the joke, listeners, isn't it? As Bill says, to the fork in a road. You got one road that leads off marked to incompetence on the road sign. Incompetence this way, or corruption the other way. Very difficult to prove corruption, Bill. In fact, I'd say it's near impossible. Certainly, I think, as I said to Merv at the start of this show, listeners, you can, I don't think you need to be a, Old Moore's Almanac or Mystic Meg to know the FA would really not like Millwall in the Premier League, for very obvious reasons. The saucy chants, the inability to stage decent tifo displays, the lack of the media's view on what is passes for good banter. It's all very, very different at the Dens. They don't want us anywhere near their cash cow. Neither will there be records or minutes or recordings of hazy gentlemen at the FA instructing the head of the referees PGMO organisation to say come down hard on Mill. You sometimes don't have to do that. Sometimes it's just a general understanding. I think partly the referee be well aware. Kitchen is his name, Andrew Kitchen. I didn't know he was 29, incidentally. I haven't looked into him, but that does seem young to be refereeing a high octane game at the high octaneist place in English football. Does seem a bit kind of overwhelming for a youngster, in my humble opinion. He's not up to it. Certainly he's not up to it. The corruption side of it, I think, is very hard to prove it, and it's tempting to go down that road. The only thing I'd say back, Bill, a bit like yourself, mate, organising a decent conspiracy is almost impossible to keep secret, in my experience, if anything. But certainly there's a desire to be, on part of referees, to show they're not swayed by the infamous Millwall crowd. They've got the moral fibre and backbone to make difficult decisions under pressure. I'm filling out his CV here, listeners, for you, for his job application. And that stands him in good stead to get into the top flight Premier League refereeing at some stage. The sad fact is that when you review the video footage, it's an awful decision. The Femi foul down at the other end, I've seen the footage, certainly he's fouled, whether it was on the right side or the wrong side of the penalty area. You'd really have to go down with VAR level magnification. But two crucial decisions. The sending off was the cruelest decision, because obviously after that, despite going close, we were up against it. I would just repeat and reinforce, as I said to Merv at the start of this show, though, listeners, it's very tempting to pin it all on the referee. If we'd have taken more chances, and if we'd have turned it on more in the first half, adjusted tactics, done something to change it in the first 45, a second goal would have turned things around completely. There we are. Massive thank you though to Bill. Always good to hear from you, mate. Keep coming. Now, while we've been recording this show, listeners, a post has appeared on the Millwall FC official site concerning some racist abuse that has been dished out to Zach via Instagram. There's a strong statement been made by the club in support of Zach. I want to lend my name to the support for Zach Sturge. I'm going to read the statement because I think it says it better than I can do. Listeners, I should read it all. Indulge me on this. Millwall Football Club is disgusted by online racist abuse directed at Zach Sturge on social media following Saturday's championship fixture against Blackburn Rovers. Emojis with racist intent and slurs about his skin colour were sent to Zach from two separate overseas Instagram accounts, one based in Belgium and another in Mexico. Neither account appears to have any fan affiliation with Millwall or Blackburn Rovers. Both accounts have been reported to Instagram's parent company Meta, and the EFL and the club are awaiting an update on this. The club is doing everything it can to support Zach and his family and wholeheartedly condemns this behaviour in the strongest possible terms. It's disgraceful that in 2026 players continue to be subjected to such abuse. It has no place in the sport we love or in society. And there's a second page, which I will read. Fuck it, why not? This is the second time this season, apparently, a Millwall player has received such online racial abuse. These spineless abusers no longer fear hiding behind the anonymous accounts whilst directing abuse in the public domain. The club urges social media companies to do far more to stop these cowards from continuing to spread such hateful content online. Millwall will continue to work with the relevant authorities and platforms where necessary and remains fully committed to promoting equality, inclusion and respect within the game. Zach and his family have the full support of every single member of staff, teammate and supporter of Millwall Football Club. Second that, listeners, I think I can speak on behalf of the vast majority, if not all, Millwall fans. I don't make that claim lightly, believe me, and after all these years, in support of Zach. These people who post this shit online, often from places, Belgium and Mexico, it's easy to knock this kind of stuff out, and as we've said in other situations on this show, not much will come of it. Almost certainly, it must be very, very tough for Zach. I want to send my personal regards to him. The sending off on Saturday, not his fault. He's trying to do his job, and an incompetent referee's decided to wave a red card at him. People replying back online have said it might be related to gambling losses on the site. It was costing money. But I'm not sure that excuses anything, let alone, abusing a player for an incident in a football match. I just wanted to insert that in there. It's actually arisen as I've been recording this show, so I just want to send my solidarity and support for Zach Sturge and his family. We'll move on.
Find the biggest voices in sports on the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Like the joy of football with me, football commentator Martin Tyler. And me, Neil Barnett, who worked inside a football club for over 30 years. We've talked football all our lives, down the pub, in the restaurants, in the stadia. Now we're doing it on the podcast. And that includes my weekly letter from the gantry. Search The Joy of Football and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Achtung, Millwall.
Next up, we're going to play John Rankin, and then I'll follow John Rankin with Lawrence Binney.
Well, it's started, isn't it? Andrew Kitchen, you're not fucking welcome in SE16, SE14, SE1, SE13, you are a complete and utter cheating cunt. I've never seen anything so ridiculous in all my fucking 55 years of watching football, and I mean that, right? How the hell was that a fucking red card, you cheating, bent cunt of a referee, right? It's on it, isn't it, eh? It's totally fucking on it, right? Millwall not going up to the Premiership because we use a few hurty fucking words, right? You know, we can't go up to the Premiership and they ship in bent referees to do that to us. What a fucking joke. I'm absolutely livid. I'll tell you, I thought it was all a bit romantic, you know, all this conspiracy stuff. But after seeing that today, and the crazy thing was, what a fantastic piece of management by Alex Neil. So, the first half, look, they set up in a 4-5-1 Blackburn. We couldn't get round the midfield, we couldn't go through them. They were just blocking us out. And, you know, a lot of people were saying, oh, we were pretty poor. But, you know, I think it was that sort of game. It was a nervy game. They came just to fuck us up and not play football. They're a shit team from a shit part of the fucking country, and they have shit bent referees on their side. And the quicker they fuck off back up north and stop troubling us, the happier I'll be. So, what a fantastic piece of managerial skill by Alex Neil. I couldn't quite believe the changes he made, right? We were playing with a back four, so we had Danny Mack, Kramer and Cooper and Sturge, right, as our back four. He takes off Danny Mack and brings on Ivanovic. Fantastic piece of managerial courage, right? And it worked so well. He swapped out Luke Cundall. I forget who he swapped him with. Maybe it was Barry, I'm not sure. I think it was Macaulay Langstaff. So my only criticism of the first half in terms of our setup really was this Negley. I want to see Negley and Barry Bannon play together, you know, in the middle of the park more. I still think it's a waste to push Camille Negley out onto the left wing. But there you go, that's by the by. Second half, I mean, I thought, wow, what's he doing here? And boy, did it work. The two up front, really, you know, the ball sticking up front well. And the goal we scored was absolutely beautiful. And I think, you know, Luke Cundall, I fancied him to do something this game, and he did it. He's playing well, you know, he's coming on and he's busy and he's sure-footed and his touch is good and his vision is good and he's really coming on a bundle, and what a lovely goal. And to score a goal like that and lose a game like that because of a shit cunt bent fucking referee, right, Andrew Kitchen, right, you are a cheating slag, right, because he sends off the one, we've only got 3 defenders on the pitch and the fucker sends off one of them. It's just unbelievable. I've never known nothing like it. I'm absolutely fucking furious. I really am. And their 2 shitty goals, what a load of northern fucking tripe. Load of fucking rubbish. You know, they struggled to get the ball to the byline and tap in a couple of goals against a team which we only had 2 defenders on the fucking pitch. You know, you're such a good team, aren't you, Blackburn? A 2 defence fucking Millwall, and you take all that time to beat us 2-1. It's a shame that that Camille Negley didn't slot that ball home. It's a shame we didn't get a penalty with Aziz. It's a shame that Josh Coburn didn't score his goal. It's a shame that Barry Bannon didn't score his goal. But I don't care. We were beaten by a cheating referee, right? Don't ever come to SE16 again, you fucking bent slag. Just found out the cheating slag is from Durham. He's a lifelong Middlesbrough supporter. Fucking unbelievable.
Well, Nick, it's Lawrence Binney calling in after Millwall 1, Blackburn 2. A very disappointing result. But I think in light of maybe some of our recent performances, not actually too unexpected. I got some guffawing, and I'm going to call you out, Nick, you were also guffawing my idea that we weren't good enough to finish in the top two, and I think that is, the performance today was part of a reason why I don't think we are, to be honest. We had some injuries, but 3 or 4, and I think fairly significant injuries, but we also had a full squad to choose from. But we're not quite the cohesive unit that I think an automatic side needs to be. I think we're a decent playoff side, but we are not a well-oiled automatic machine. I think we've had some really good results and had a lot of luck on our side recently, but yeah, we're not quite there yet, and that's no shame. There's no shame in that. I came to this season thinking we'd finish 8th. We look more than set to finish in the top 6, so 6th for the very least, which is a huge accomplishment for the club, for the staff, for the players. But I look at the squad and I think it is, probably in the region of like the Derbies, Wrexhams, Hulls of the world. It's a squad that is decent, probably the best of the rest, right? But I think a little bit of ways off of Coventry, Ipswich, Middlesbrough, and we've been fanned out a little bit today. We can talk about the refereeing performance, which was shambolic, absolutely disgraceful, especially in regards to what happened with Sturge and the penalty. But if we're being honest, that covers up the fact that we just didn't have enough territory against the side that have been dreadful recently, and are missing more players than we are, if we're being honest. We looked great in that 10-15 minutes after the second half, and it probably would have been a different game if we didn't have the man sent off. But these are fine margins, and if you're an automatic chasing team, fine margins are, they're something that you do away with, and you get the job done no matter what. So we'll see. We might go up to Ipswich and Middlesbrough and get results, in which case we might be in pole position. And knowing this side, that seems entirely capable. It sounds like something we totally could do. I think my real worry after that would be, games against QPR and Norwich and, Oxford at home, when the onus is on us. But regardless, it's going to be a great season. We've had a great run. We're probably petering out a little bit, maybe, but we'll still finish very comfortably in the playoffs. And you know what? I back us over 3 games. Probably above anyone apart from Wrexham, who I think are on a very similar level to us. Anyway, sorry to be a doubting Thomas in such good times, Nick. But we'll see how it goes. But it's a good time to be a Mill fan. It's disappointing today. Come on, you Lions.
Achtung, Millwall.
I'm going to have to stick a strong language from the very start sticker on these notes, show notes, listeners. And a big thank you to John and Lawrence Binney there. Strong views from John, just to start off that little sequence before the break. Don't beat around the bush so much, John. Get off that fence, mate. You're going to get a splinter in your arse. The referee. We've touched on the referee already. I do think there's a lot in at the points that Lawrence makes. In all honesty, I've made that point, or similar points, I think, speaking to Merv. Whether we deserve to be in the automatic spots or don't, I don't know, Lawrence. In the end, the league table shows everyone what they deserved from the season. There's still 8 games to go. I do know what you mean about not breaking sides down. I mean, there were Blackburn poor side, as John's spoken very clearly on, to be broken down. We do struggle in those situations. That's something probably for development over the course of the summertime and next season, depending on where we find ourselves. If we presume that we are going to be a championship side, then we're going to have to use some of the money that's going to be generated by the sales of the likes of Femi and possibly Tristan Kramer, to find talent that can break down opposing banks of four, because that's what we couldn't really do Saturday. Some good management to produce the goal, as John Rankin made the point so well, and then of course the intervention of the referee. And I've got nothing much I can add to the venom that is apparent on this show and other platforms on the internet. Not much we can do about it. Now we can appeal the card, but that doesn't get our 3 points back. But yeah, are we found out? Not yet. I don't think we're found out yet, Lawrence. There's still, Alex Neil said on Saturday, still twists and turns yet to go in this season. But it wouldn't be Millwall if we didn't fall flat on our face against the weaker sides and raise our game against the best in the division. That's just the way it is. That's in their DNA, it seems to me. Let's move over now to Mike George and Rob Woodford, one after the other.
Oh dear. Welcome to Oh Dear What a Cock Up Central. Yes, that was a bit of a mess, wasn't it? In the first 10 or 15 minutes, I thought, and I did express this to she that must be obeyed, who was sitting next to me, that if we didn't score, we'd lose momentum. Well, we didn't score and we did lose momentum. And Blackburn Rovers suddenly decided that they were a football team and they started to attack us. And they attacked us quite well. They pressed high, they frustrated us, and basically we were not playing the vintage type of football that we all wanted to see. But let us cue to the second half, because that's basically when everything happened. First of all, we came out with Alex Neil's words in the players' ears, and we scored. Hooray! Luke Cundall, overhead kick in the box, really nice, bottom corner. Thank you very much. 1-0, that'll do nicely. And for about 5 minutes, we looked absolutely superb. It looked very much like we'd get a second, but no. Blackburn hadn't read the script, had they? And they equalised. Oh dear, oh dear. What do we do now? Well, the solution apparently was to allow Mr. Kitchen, the referee, to take centre stage. Yes, first of all, he sent Zach Sturge off for a red card offence. Now, Zach may have pulled down the player. He may have been the last man, but he wasn't heading towards goal. He was heading towards the corner flag. He was much more of a diagonal angle. So I don't believe that was a red card. And I'm not sure. I'd have to look at it again, but I'm not sure it was a red card anyway. So we're down to 10 men. We go 3 at the back. We try to attack. Blackburn weren't having any of it. They kept going at us, and blow me down, they got another goal. 2-1. Oh dear, here we go. Cue Mr. Kitchen again, and his linesman, who turned down a blatant penalty appeal from Femi Aziz that should have been a penalty. No, he weren't having none of that. There was a couple of other decisions that went against us. He wasn't Mr. Popularity, South East London, that's all I can say. Well, Mr. Kitchen, all you've done is make yourself the star of the show, and you've got yourself a nice name. Well done to you, sir. Now bugger off. We must, of course, carry on. Okay, we go to Ipswich next week. We need 3 points. So come on, you Lions. Let's forget this one and go again.
You summed it up in your match report, Nick. Millwall 1, the referee 2. And I also think the linesman in front of the Kitchener stand, the geezer who looked like a Thunderbird's puppet, he's had a claim to fame from where I was sitting. Well, it's Sunday morning here, and there are multiple messages on social media about the cheating officials and much, much less about the actual game. A bit like last week, really, when most of the news about the club in the media was about the £45,000 fine and another one about to be handed out in the near future. Almost like our team yesterday, reduced to 10 men, having to piss against the wind, just like the club. In the first half, we seemed very nervy, very hesitant. Wasn't much positivity. Almost as if the early kick-off result had got to the players and the sheer enormity of the game. Langstaff seemed well off the pace to me, something I've noticed in the last few games, actually. Something had to change, and reverting to a back three was very brave, and it looked to be working. And a cool finish from cool boot Luke, then squandered chances to get the second killer goal from Negley, Coburn and Femi. And then up came our man of the match, Mr. Andrew Kitchen, who decided to intervene with that decision that quite clearly changed the dynamics, not just of the game, but from the promotion consideration as well. Now, look, when Barry Bannon plays, he uses class and gives us creativity, but we do lose that winning the second ball mentality a bit without Casper, in my opinion, and that's a dilemma for the coach. A mighty big one comes up next, and I've been saying for weeks that Ipswich are the main threat for that runners-up spot, when everyone else has been saying Middlesbrough this and Middlesbrough that. But the stark reality is that we are still 2 wins away from a playoff spot, with 2 very difficult away matches up next, and then another tricky home game against the vastly improving Norwich on Easter Monday. If we are starting to run out of steam, let's be thankful we already have 68 points in the bag already. I still think we will be history makers this season and reach the second-tier playoff final for the very first time. Come on, you Wall!
Great optimistic stuff there from Rob Woodford. Great to see you again yesterday, Rob, incidentally, down at the Coldblow Lane End. And before, Rob, Mike George, equally, both capture the essence of the game yesterday. It was a spectacular goal by Luke Hunter. That's got to be one of the great goals seen at the Den, listeners. It's such a shame that the antics of the referee and his incompetence and his incompetent assistants will overpower it a little bit. But what an overhead finish. The only other one I can think of off the top of my head, like it would be Etienne Verviers back in the 90s. Did he not get an overhead kick against Crystal Palace? Remind me, listeners, older listeners, going back to the olden days there. But as Rob put it very accurately, we've touched on it repeatedly across this show. If you don't score your goals, don't take your chances, games get away from you. That's what happened in truth on Saturday, as much as it's tempting to focus purely on the referee and on all that comes with him and his decision making on Saturday, his incompetence. If we'd have taken one more chance, then that would have been probably, game over before he intervened. Missed chances cost games, listeners. There we are. Now then, we're going to play out the show. I'm going to play the remainder of the voicemails one after the other. We're going to begin with Hassan, then David Liederkramer, Bobby T, and Barnesy and Aussie Dave to finish. Take it away, Hassan.
Hello, Nick. It's Hassan here. I've only just calmed down. I'm gobsmacked, to be honest with you, mate, how we lost that game. Before we get into, first half we were poor. I'll say that much. I thought going into it, seeing that Middlesbrough drop the bollock in the last minute against Bristol City, everyone's tails were up. Hull lost. I know Coventry at first, but they lost as well. And in the first half, I felt there was a lot of anxiety in the stadium. I think it fed through to the players, but we weren't good. It was like Pompey all over again, and I was worried that, is the pressure getting to these lads? I thought to be fair to Blackburn, even though they're such a bad side, they did a job on us in the first half. They harried us. They closed a lot of space down, and when they did have the ball, they actually knocked it around quite well. I'll give them their credit. They knocked it around pretty well, and they had a few half chances. So, we had our warning signs there in the first half. Come out in the second, and I said to the guys around me that this is all or nothing now. We heard Alex Neil's comments after the Hull game, where he used the term a ballsy move, and Alex Neil's a gambler. He would do anything to get 3 points, even if it means losing 3-0. If he throws on an extra striker to win the game of football, he'll do that. and seeing what he'd done in the second half, we were trying to work out a formation, could not work it out whatsoever. I think the idea was to try and get Kramer forward, because Femi was struggling on that right hand side. Him and McNamara have got no chemistry. McNamara, he's a good defender, but going forward he's awful, unfortunately. And in the second half, even though we looked a little bit exposed at the back, Kramer bombing on eventually led to the goal. Langstaff had an awful first half. He was chasing shadows for most of the game. I think there's more to do with the fact that he had no support. Bannon and Mitchell. Bannon's a sitting midfielder. Mitchell's a runner, but without Dinor, Langstaff doesn't have that support. I was impressed with Bannon, by the way. He was unlucky to get hooked, but I was impressed with him. He's always looking for the through ball. Even though I don't think we're playing to his strengths yet. We haven't really scored yet from a Bannon through ball, but we were, the gamble was paying off. We scored a great goal, bicycle kick as well, from Luke Cundall. And to be fair, Luke Cundall, he's throwing his name into the ring now. His hat into the ring, as they say. I said it before, I'm not his biggest fan, but the last few games he's starting to come off the bench and make a difference. And if I had to give a man the match, I'd give it to Cundall. I think it was fantastic. And great goal, lovely finish, great bicycle kick, great cross from Femi again, another assist. And a touch on Femi, wasn't his best game again. His little tricks and feints, and I think the defenders are starting to work him out a little bit. Still dangerous though, still getting assists, but great cross, and it comes from a Kramer as he's link up again. Then after that, all hell breaks loose, doesn't it? We knew the referee was doing what referees do when they come to Millwall, giving nothing to us. Coburn getting manhandled and assaulted as usual. He got a smattering of boos at half time, but by the end of the game, it was. Everyone was spitting feathers, myself included. My voice is in bits, mate. I was shouting so much. I had the voice of a 6-year-old girl at one point, screaming. It's unbelievable. In terms of watching it back, even in real time, he blew, and I honestly thought he was going to give a foul the other way or give it for a dive. And when you give the free kick, I thought, fair enough. When he produced a red card, I thought, nah, this is in front of my eyes. They're fucking us as we speak. They are fucking us as we speak. The FA and the referees. I've said this before, Nick. There's an agenda, right? They do not want us doing well. And at that moment in time, we were second in the league, and we were in the automatic positions, right? And call me a conspiracy theorist, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone got in his earpiece when he blew that foul and said, "Give the fucking red." And I've watched it back, but not sat down and properly analysed it. It's a fucking joke, mate. I'm sorry, Nick. It is a fucking joke. From what I could see, I think it's a Hashi. Almost Zach Sturge runs behind him because he cuts across him, and Cooper is alongside Hashi. At the most, it's a free kick and maybe a yellow card. Never a fucking red, Nick. It's an absolute travesty. And a new chant came out today. We're getting fucked by the FA. I'm going to use a WWE wrestling analogy. I'm not sure if you've got any wrestling fans listening, but any wrestling fan listening, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Montreal Screwjob, they'll know what I'm talking about. It is a screwjob, Nick. We are getting absolutely fucked by the FA. I'm sure of that. Next week, I've got my ticket for Ipswich. It's going to be even worse. It's going to be even worse. They're going to make sure Ipswich, Ed Sheeran, the establishment club, they need them in the top two because of the branding. They're a lovely club. They tick the boxes. They don't give no problems. We're going to get absolutely shafted next week, Nick, and we're going to be playing against 12 men. And today, the goals we conceded weren't great, but maybe we could have done better. I think the second one, we should have done better with that. We had the ball. And again, communication, everyone's just looking at each other. We should have done better, but you can't go past the fact that we got absolutely fucked. We were in the ascendancy. We was only going to score more goals, and we got absolutely shafted. And at the end, to be honest with you, Nick, it's been a very, very long... Well, I missed the whole game, so again, I'm assuming got the same sort of treatment. But the amount of stick that referee got, and the opposition bench as well, when they scored their second goal, they were turning around and facing the fans. There was a lot of anger in that stadium after the game. Nothing to the players, obviously. But it's a travesty. We put 100% effort in. Even at 10 men, we had our moments where we could have got a goal. But I tell you what, if we're going to do this season, we're going to have to do it the hard way. Fuck it. We're going to have to go to Ipswich and get a result. We have to go to Borough and get a result. And you know what? Let's bring it on. Let's not drop our heads. Let's do it. Let's go up there, back the boys. That's all we can do. Give them all our encouragement, and hopefully the gods of football will be smiling on us. You mentioned about the temptress of Lady Luck. I think today she had the FA in her ear, and unfortunately they got the best of her, and we didn't get any luck today. All right, Nick, I'm going to go home and get a kebab. All the best, mate.
I'm going to interject. I was going to play out the show with remaining voicemails. I just really like, in a kind of reverse, backhanded way, the screw job line has saying, I'm going to use that one, mate. And you're right. We're going to Ipswich with Ed Sheeran and the whole niceness of it all up there. It's going to be an interesting game. I'm actually away next week, so I'm going to be following it online, listeners. But I will be very, very keen to hear any voice notes from Portman Road that give us the full Monty on what happens there. It's going to be another interesting one. Lady Luck, yeah, she laughed in our face on Saturday. That's big thank you, mate. I appreciate that one. Let's go back to the voice mails now with David Liederkramer.
Morning, Nick. David Liederkramer here after a very disappointing result against Blackburn Rovers. I mean, Blackburn always seem to be our bogey team. I think one of their fans said that they've only won 3 away games in the last couple of years when they've been behind, and all of them have been against Millwall, so that speaks for itself. I see a lot of people talking about conspiracy theory in relation to the referee and his decisions, and it's entirely true that I think he's refereed us 6 times, and we've drawn once and lost 5 times, and he was also the referee in the Burnley game last year, and he comes from Durham. Well, I guess if you are interested in conspiracy theories, then you've obviously got some ammunition, although I personally think it was just rubbish refereeing. I don't put it down to anything more than that. You said, I think in one of the last podcasts that you did, was that sometimes the football gods smile on you and sometimes they don't. And in this case, the football gods were absolutely pissing down on us, both in relation to the sending off and then the Aziz penalty. I've looked at the Sturge sending off. I must have looked at it about half a dozen times, and for the life of me, I cannot see how it's even probably a yellow card, let alone a red one. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I'm sure everybody else who's making contributions, voicemail contributions, is saying exactly the same. The penalty, I thought, the Aziz one, I'm not quite so sure about that. It looked at first as if he'd been brought down, but I'm not sure whether the player goes into the back of him or not, in the sense that I'm not sure it was deliberate. I'm not a great expert on the laws of the games. I don't know whether deliberate is important or not, but it looked a little, on replay, it looked a bit less obvious than it was at the time. The other point, of course, was that the Negley shot, which he took and which was actually saved by the keeper, so it should have been a corner to us in any event. And that was the passage of play which was before their attack, which led to Sturge's sending off. I was impressed by the post-match of Jake Cooper and Alex Neil. They both seem very calm and measured and reflective. They've been in the game a long time, both of them, and they know that these things do happen. The mark of a good side is that you put these setbacks behind you and you just get on with it, and you put in a performance in the next couple of games. This Millwall side have done that all season, and I hope that they're going to be able to do it with 2 of probably the most difficult games of the season coming up. But I have every confidence that they will give it a really good go. I'm very proud of this team. They work really, really hard. They try hard. They give 100%. They were clapped off at the end as they should have been. And that games like yesterday just happen, and we have to accept it. I'm still hopeful that we're going to do well this season. I'm pretty sure that we will make the playoffs, although I'm sure there will be the odd reverse between now and the end of the season, which will give us the usual Millwall jitters. And we will then see what happens in the playoff lottery. But a bit unusual on a Sunday morning to be a bit fed up because we've had some really good results over the last few months. And I have to say that it's a slightly unusual feeling not to look at the papers and drink in every detail of our success, but that's the way it sometimes is. Anyway, I hope everyone gets over it soon, and come on, you Lions.
Oh, good evening, Nick. It's Bobby T here. Sorry that it's late, but I just want to get a few things off my chest and a few pointers. I love what you do at Achtung Millwall, The Godfather, and even on Lions TV, the O'Maras, Chat with Chaps, Millwall Podcast, you name it. But I want to, the things that you interview, you're doing a good job that you interview Merv Payne, all this, Harry, whatever. And I want to ask you now, it's a bit late, sorry it's late, but I need to just tell you, how the hell, or I want to ask you, the panel, how we have lost that game today. Now, is it winning 1-0 when Kundal comes on and he changed the formation at half-time, which was good. It was really good for going forward. And all this conspiracy, and I want to ask you, Nick Hart, Achtung Millwall, Bobby T here, more calm down, more chilled out and relaxed now. This whole conspiracy about the FA, the EFL, to be going 1-0 up, managing the game, winning 1-0. Zach Sturge, it wasn't a red card. I've watched it back. Cooper was coming in on him, but the referee. Do you really believe that the conspiracy over the years, even like a couple of years ago, 3-1 Blackburn at home, 3-1 up, what more? And Ollie Burke, and then they come and do a job on us. And is it the Millwall mentality, is it game management? Anyway, back to the conspiracy. I mean, I really want to believe that the Stonewall penalty that Aziza saw, but not given us. Is it true that Millwall, the police, EFL, FA, just don't want Millwall in the Premiership, Nick Hart, and everyone? Anyway, back to the game. How have we lost that, Nick Hart? I want to ask you basically. Now, when he changed the formation half-time, Kundal, great bicycle, Aziz, the only cross. And then the sending off. If Zach Sturgeon stayed on the pitch, we would have been on our back four. Joe Bryan needs to retire. I'm really sorry for the flat white and coffees and all that. I get that. But if Zach Sturgeon had stayed on pitch, would we have lost that game? I don't think so. They got to the byline and then tap in. And then the second one, we were three at the back. Now, Nick Hart, I want to ask you, the godfather of Millwall, when he changed it at half-time and he brought on Mihailo, right, and then we went 1-0 up and he changed the game going forward, then they're sending off, don't you think, and a lot of people are saying this now, right, he should have taken one of the strikers off and then played someone like a back four. They wouldn't have, and then we would have defended with 10 men like the Millwall do, and they wouldn't have scored. But because we got overrun on the first goal, the equaliser, Joe Bryan's fault, I think, and he lost his marker, tap in. And then the second goal, on the break, three at the back, only Cooper and Kramer, through ball, dinked in, bang, 2-1, smash and grab. Like what we done to Hull, like at Derby in a way, or Hull, smash and grab. Today, Blackburn have come here, our bogey side, Nick, and been in the game long periods. And the first half, Nick, I told you at half-time, I want to ask you, we heard the result at Bristol City, and then I think we came out and we played slow, nervous, the anxiety, our build-up play in the first half. We looked too nervous. We looked too, we just didn't do nothing in the first half. We come out second half, we changed it, but do you reckon, I'm waffling on, do you reckon basically he should have took off Mihailo or Coburn, but he gambled, he went for the game to go and win it with 10 men, and we got short at the back. So that's how I see it. And now going to the next two games, Ipswich, I remember a couple of years ago, George Savile or whatever, we weren't there 2-2. We fear no one. But I think now, Nick Hart, and everyone listening to me, we are going now into our 2 cup final games now. I told you before I saw you today, Nick Hart. Thank you very much for everything. And, the old Ipswich in a way and all that, appreciate it, Nick. But now going to Ipswich, I said to you before the game today, I'll take 2 points and stay in the playoffs. But if we lose all our games, and I'm just biting my tongue when I say this, we could be out the playoffs. I mean, if we lose the next two, like I've seen team collapses when they, Anyway, we have to go to Ipswich now, and people say take it on the chin. But what? The players did do nothing wrong today. I think Alex Neil, it backfired your gamble to go 1-0 up. Should have changed it. We could have got on the way with a 1-0 win. But you didn't. It backfired. They're going to Ipswich now next week, Middlesbrough International Week. Is it in our hands? If we get 2 away wins, we're laughing. And then, anyway, I'm waffling on, Nick Hart. I'm not going to get mad now. I'm already calm and relaxed about the referees and the conspiracy. And we lost it ourselves today because we could have gone 2-0 up, take our chance. We didn't. Alex Neil might have got it wrong. But going now to Ipswich, it is a must-win. It's a cup final the next 2 games. Is it in our hands? We just got to bounce back now. Take it on the chin. Blackburn's our bogey side. Playoffs might be a guarantee. After the next 2 away games, we have got Norwich, QPR. Anyway, love you all, Bobby T. I'm all calmed down. Nick Hart, you're the godfather. Great everything that you do. From Food Hub to this, Achtung Millwall, Lions TV, you all heroes, chat with chaps, Millwall Podcast. I still believe we're going to get second. Bye for now, Bobby T. Good night.
Hello, Nick. It's Barnesy here. I've just got home after that performance today. It's going to be a hard one to hear, I think. We'll come back to what we're going to be talking about. First half, really nothing to report on our side. I thought we were very poor. I thought Langstaff, I don't know, he looked like he's wearing roller skates. Didn't get into the game, unfortunately, just passed him by. He battles, we know he works hard, but we just didn't have any shape about us today in the first half. And, he was screaming out for changes. And, the thing with Alex Neil, he has got the bollocks to do it. And I thought Danny Mack didn't do anything wrong personally, but, he made a decision. I was scratching my head because obviously I was watching it and the players got called in. I only see Cundall going, so I knew he was going to come out second half, but I didn't know who he was going to come on for. But, Langstaff was coming out, and I thought, Cundall, he's come up with some goals, hasn't he? And second half, they were still attacking us. I spoke to the Blackburn fella before the game, and he had absolutely gave me zero chance they were going to win today. He said, "You're Amos," and he was still there supporting his team. So good luck to him, but he said, "You're going to go up, we'll fall apart." And they, they didn't. And second half, made the changes. We looked so much better. Coburn was just being pulled all over the place. Referee gave absolutely nothing. And that sort of set us up really for the whole second half, didn't it? And then next thing, we scored an absolute worldie, didn't we? Cundall, what a finish. We were going mad, settling down. We were playing well. We looked on top. They were struggling. And then I just can't say really what I want to say, but these referees, do they not play the game? They're just robots. I think the FA slipped a bit of paper under the door in the referee's room and said, "You know what you're doing, guys? We've got to make sure this Millwall team don't go up." Because their officiating in the second half was absolutely fucking appalling. It was a disgrace. I've seen the clip back. I was down the other end and I just see him tugging back. How that is a sending off, I do not know. An absolute disgrace of a referee. The linesman, the first half, I thought he was all right. And then the ball's gone out of play after the bloke hit it off his own defender, way over the line. That's play on. And then Femi Aziz goes down. The problem with Femi, he tries to get back up. If he stays down, I think it's a penalty. But I still don't think the idiot would have given it. Absolute joke of a referee. All credit to, Blackburn. They carried on. They could smell fear. They could smell, we were hanging on. And I felt the players that come on did all right. Bannon had a good game. Grammar had a good game. But, they cut us open. And that's what they do. And when you're against the referee and you're officials like that, we can't do anything about it. But all credit to the players, they carried on. But you're playing against idiots of this who are refereeing at this level, playing with players' careers here and managers' careers, and to have someone officiating as bad as that, it is an absolute disgrace. And our players played to the end. They didn't rise above it, and all credit to them, because if I was Alex Neil, I'd be banging on that door going, you need to tell us. You know what's going to happen? We're going to appeal that, and they're going to turn it down, because that's what the FA do. They don't want us to go up, and that's disappointing. I think with the result earlier today, put a little pressure on the players today, and I think they struggled a little bit today. But I can't fault the energy and the players and what they've done for us and where we are. But it's very, very disappointing. I heard a stat on our group chat today. We've had this referee 7 times. We've drawn 1 and lost 6. I think that just tells a story where we are, and have that idiot to be officiating our game at that big level. He should be down a kids' football max for that fella. He was an absolute idiot, and I'm sorry I'm ranting, but still proud of the display. They gave it all. Negley should have scored, and I'm not having a go at that fella because he ran his bollocks off today. What a player we've got there! But if he'd have put that away, we would have come away with 3 points. But I feel sorry for Zach. He looked devastated. I think everyone was just bemused by that decision. But you know what? I do honestly believe we'll appeal it and they'll turn it down, because they don't want us going up. And it's disappointing. But proud of the boys today. Alex Neil's got some bollocks to change it. And I thought taking Coburn off, I think he's saving him. But, Mia's not going to win those headers like Coburn does. And he battled his way today. He had a chance as well. But, yeah, I'm so disappointed. Not in the players, but just the officials today. I think you're going to hear a lot of this, mate. About the referee again, because they're little narcissists in the middle who run this so-called game. Take care, mate.
Nick, Aussie Dave here after that Blackburn debacle. God, I gather that's now 2 games in 21 we've beaten them. Now I know what Charlton feel like. 4 points to make. The first area, obviously, is the referee, Andrew Kitchen. A Millwall Drive Home YouTuber said he's refereed 7 of our games, 1 draw, 6 losses. That is statistically, if I can say it, significant. It shouldn't be like that. So why is it? No idea. I reckon there could be some conscious or subconscious bias, but who knows? Second point about the referee, the red card. Law 12 is called denying an obvious goal-scoring opportunity. And there's 4 criteria you look at, and one of them is the location and number of defenders between the foul and the goal. If you look at it, Cooper's clearly there. He's running slightly away. I wouldn't say it's obvious. I say it's a potential. So clearly, it should never have been given. Continue with the referee, the Aziz foul, that should have been a penalty. They replayed that with a camera behind the goal, and you can clearly see the Blackburn defender clips the left foot of Aziz, and nothing given. Dear me. And finally with the ref, throughout the game, he gave several bewildering decisions, especially Coburn. God, I hope we don't get him in the playoffs. 2, this is a thing I've talked about the last couple of times I phoned in, and that's Lady Luck. Let's be fair, that's been on our side against Hull and Derby, and we got some referees' decisions in our favour. He disallowed the goal against Hull, and if you remember earlier this season, Bristol City scored a valid goal, but it was disallowed for offside, and it wasn't. So swings and roundabouts. I know it hurts at the time, but we have had some on our side recently. Third point, Alex Neil tactics. The first half clearly not working, with Blackburn playing 3 central defenders and 2 wing-backs. We just weren't coping, and particularly there was no pressure. So what the heck did he get Langstaff to do? Because that's his main role. And so they were just playing it around and building up confidence and play. And even when Patterson took a mysterious injury after about half hour, so Alex Neil could talk to the players, there was really no change for the remaining part of that half. So I don't know what he said, but it didn't work. Second half, obviously, his tactics were to copy Blackburn. So we had 3 central defenders, 2 wing-back. Made a big difference. We played well, got a great goal, and looked close to getting another one. Then the red card. And when I would have thought quite a few other teams who are down to 10 men and 1-0 up, they'll just go defensive, and try and win 1-0. The thing with Alex Neil, good or bad, he continued with 2 up front and will hopefully get a second, but it did leave some gaps and 2 goals developed from that. So you've got to support Alex Neil. He probably went a bit too adventurous with 10 men, but that's the way it goes. Finally, the team. Again, they gave 100%, no complaints. 3 players, Negley. He is now a serial offender of missing fairly good chances, and he did a vital one to put us 2-0 up against Blackburn. And he never gets it on target, he just blazes it, so at least he should be trained. Whatever you do, get it on target. Second player, Aziz, clearly not the same with Akram on the right wing, right back, and he's not looked good for 4 or 5 games now. And finally, Kundal always looks effective when he comes on, and I reckon we should give him a couple of games at least at number 10. He can apply pressure like Langstaff, but he's more skillful, and he gets a few goals. Anyway, this will be forgotten hopefully by next Saturday. Got to get at least a point against Ipswich. Come on, you Lions.
Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Achtung Millwall. All profits from our show benefit the fabulous Lions Food Hub, helping families in the Essex 16 area. Until the next show then, it's Arrivederci Millwall. Bye for now.
Who do you want to watch?